Hello everyone, we are in Karma, the last race of the season for Karma and most likely for me as well this year. There are a lot of things to cover in this video, so without further ado, let's just have a look how Šernai aka Haanja XC course looked like this year in 2023.
Today I'm Pedro Mendes. Actually, I forgot to shave, but at the same time it will be warmer that way because we are going into season finale Šernai, which is hogs. Hogs is for a reason because they're in that area. A lot of hogs live there, and there are hunters who kill those hogs as well, probably. So hopefully no one is going to kill us today in that area, because it's going to be deadly. Reasons why? It's very hard. 18 kilometers, 700 meters of elevation. It's been raining quite a lot last few days. It's going to be mudfest. Outside is 4 degrees Celsius. It's predicted to be raining, so yeah. And actually I'm not feeling too good today, and I don't know the reasons, but I just inspected my heart rate. My resting heart rate from 50 went to almost 60, 58 in last few nights. So hopefully everything will be fine, let's say it this way. So actually, was it not enough racing this season that I'm going there in such conditions? Well, there was enough. And it's almost a month since I raced, so it's been a while. But at the same time, it's kind of giving respect to organizers who prepared that track, cut down the fallen trees, and in general made sure to have great season finale. So they also postponed this race because there was a clash in the calendar by our organizers who were egoistic and changed the calendar without being aware of our events. So that said, that is multiple factors why going to such race is crucial thing to end up the season.
This is my third time participating in this race, so it's one of those few races which I don't skip, and you'll figure out the reasons during this video. So it's 18 kilometers lap, around 700 meters of elevation per lap, so that's a lot, and we will be going only single lap this time because the weather is bad, and basically we were not going for second lap because others would just called themselves after first lap waiting for us to finish the seconds. So we're going to go for one lap, as well as e-bikers who normally goes the same distance as elite, but this time they are going one lap as well. And talking about e-bikes, there is foreigner this time in this category, so it's Mario Silm, who came from Estonia. He's champion of e-bikes cup in Estonia, and he just came here to check what Lithuanian e-bike arena looks like. The starting line, we were only 8 participants in elite group where I'm racing, so we are all standing in front. E-bikers started a bit earlier. In Karma events I always pinpoint that there is a light, but most often it's not visible clearly, and now you can see that when the red is on, you definitely not go, and at a known time, unexpectedly, once the green opens, you just go full throttle. And in front of me on the left, Justinas Pavlovas, Justinas Bėkša in the center, and Šarūnas Pacevičius on the right. So basically it was expected that those guys will be in front and will disappear in front as well, but we'll see how it goes. I didn't have a plan for this race, like go full throttle as much as possible. No, it wasn't the case, because it was almost 1 month more or less without training. So I was just enjoying, if we can enjoy riding in such weather at high intensity and just have fun. That was the reason I came there. But at the same time, of course, you don't want to let the guys disappear too early, and we will see whether it was success or not. So behind me were 4 other participants in the lead group, and then amateurs started a few minutes afterwards. So chances are that they are not going to catch us. That means it will be pretty much a solo ride. This time while riding I also been commenting a bit, so if you watch full onboard of this race you will hear some mumbling around at high BPM what I have to say on that moment of the race. And in this moment of the race I knew that there will be a bit of a jump here, but then I noticed that in front there is yet another tree falling down, so I was not going full speed. And the good thing about this Šernai XC course is that it's happening for the 4th year already, and that tree which you saw bend over the single track in the past, it was quite easy to go underneath it, but probably the age does something to it already and it's hard to go underneath. I catched few e-bikers, so they were not pushing too hard, and later down the road I also had a discussion with one of them, and he explained that he's after a crash and that's why he's just chilling around. In front there was Andrius Peteržikas, who is actually the main initiator how e-bikes category appeared in Karma. Andrius rides e-bikes himself, and as far as I understood he convinced the organizers of Karma to just start doing category for e-bikes, and it was kind of a success because in some races probably were at least 5 to 10 people going on e-bikes, so that's something. And at the same time I see that probably in the future e-bikes will grow as well, and that just opens new possibilities. So shout out Andrius, it was a good initiative by you. And for those who hate e-bikes, just maybe change your perspective and think about it more broadly. If it enables people who are not too much into physical shape, for example, to at least enjoy those courses, it's a good thing as well. There are other very strong guys who could just kick your ass on casual bike, but they also go on e-bikes, and probably that's exactly the case with Mario, who came from Estonia. Like 5 minutes into the race it started to get hot for me, and thankfully I had only sleeves on my hands as well as the pants, which thankfully had zippers. For the race I made sure that zippers can be easily opened up, and I did that already like 7-8 minutes into the race, and once I went on that climb I completely eliminated the sleeves. I also had a cover on my neck which was also eliminated on the climb, so yeah, I spent that time on the climbs trying to cool down myself a bit, but it's worth mentioning that outside it was 4 to 5 degrees, real feel around 0. So that was hot when you are on the climbs, but definitely not hot outside. As we're approaching quite a steep climbs, I remember first few years when I've been doing this race, and I was just dying on those climbs. And you know that you're approaching the corner and it's going to skid and potentially you're not going to stay on the bike, but this year it was different. And what was different I will cover later, but more or less on all those climbs which in the past I was dying and trying to climb as much as possible, here I was just putting my effort and going up. Was it hard? Absolutely. Was it difficult? No doubts about it. So what was different? The difference was even not about knowing that you can do it. Sometimes it helps as well if you go on some climb which in the past you was not able to, and you know that you are able to do it. Then that mental strength gives you some boost, but it's not about that. As we approaching few kickers, I will just elaborate that it was slippery on the race day, it was rainy, and I was a bit skeptical to go over these, but thankfully it was success. And most likely the reason why it was success is because I chosen proper tires. And talking about tires, none of those which are behind me were applied to the bike. And finally, I can admit it that yes, Tom 10 Crafted, aka Tomas Bumbulevičius, is some sort of tireaholic, because those are different tires from different manufacturers, and yes, I own them, I test them, and I'm creating some sort of recap about all those tires. So if that's interesting to you, that video will appear in the channel at some point in the future. So yeah, none of those were applied. But for the race day, I switched the front tire to 2.4 Wolfpack Race, great tire with 1.2 air pressure or something along those lines. And then for the rear, it was Rocketron. I was a bit too lazy to change that tire to something else, and I just went with it. And because it was 2.25, in my experience, wider tires helps you on the climbs. You can say whatever you want to, but then it's chocolate-like. Mud is just better, in my opinion. But basically, if you slip the tire, if it's not too steep, it's kind of possible to just continue moving at snail speed, but if it's steep, then sooner or later you are going to stop. Unless you find the traction aside, which is sometimes also possible, but not in all cases. So going 5 kilometers on the climb with 500 watts and almost not moving at all in front, it's a bit daunting, but at the same time, you know that there's no other way. You should have changed the tire, you haven't done that, and it's your own problem. And you can see that this one caught me off guard completely, and it just slipped through times, and I just slipped the tire, and I had to just push the bike a few meters, and that way I was able to continue forward. Because I'm participating here for the third time already, I have onboards from previous years as well. It would be interesting to compare one year with the other, but at the same time, last year it was a lot drier conditions.
Last year we've been riding here together with Ignas Gilis, who is currently in Cyprus. So shout out Ignas, have a look what you have missed. Cyprus is definitely not that much interesting.
Who could exchange this beautiful weather to some 30 degrees Celsius in Cyprus? Ignay, you made a wrong decision. But to be honest, 2 weeks ago I spent a week in Naples, so I've been riding, chilling and enjoying good weather and just thinking how in the hell I will adapt from 25 degrees to 0 in few days to participate in this race. But it wasn't a problem, and all was good. However, on the race morning I felt not exactly well, because a few days ago I've been riding in cold conditions, and my resting heart rate showed that last few days the heart rate was almost 8 beats per minute higher than normally, so I wasn't exactly sure how this will end up, but thankfully nothing had caught me, at least for now, and even after the race I feel great, and hopefully it will be a success. By the way, about Naples and riding there, I will have a separate video, because I've been riding there road bikes, and I've been riding there not alone, but with my second half. So you will learn some details about that, and we will see. If you've been participating here, you already know all the course, and you are just watching this to figure out whether I survived one area or whether, and if you didn't, you can always check full on board as well. Basically, one of the few reasons why I wanted to go in this race is because I know how much hard work organizers put in order to prepare it, because last few weeks in Lithuania were with heavy winds and storms, and that made them to prepare the course multiple times because of fallen trees, etc. And in general, as I'm kind of sometimes cleaning up the trails myself, I know how much time and effort it takes to do that work. So it was kind of out of respect in the first place, without a doubt, because we already raced quite a lot of races. However, it's not too good, but in general it was amazing experience, and nothing you can expect more from this type of race.
Oh fuck.
Thanks a lot for organizers, and usually I say that most of the time, but that's just yet another level of thankfulness. Other thing is that I raced for the last time probably in Haanja, which was like end of September, third week of September maybe, so it was a lot of time passed and I still wanted to race a bit. And last but not least, meeting others for the last time this season in race conditions was great. So what was not that great is climbs, which are very hardly climbable on wet. But even in those cases, I just get on the bike and try to go further up, because if you don't try, you will never know whether it was possible or not. So that's something which I usually try to do myself, and sometimes I even said that to others too. And that's what I'm doing now as well. So on the downhills it was a bit sketchy because it was slippery and you don't always know exactly where to go, and actually there was also one moment when I cut the course a bit. We will go into that a bit later. And you can see that my maximum speed was 37 on the downhill, where there were quite a lot of downhills, but I braked quite a lot on them just to make sure that I have that stopping point. So I wonder whether guys were successful to go on this specific climb. So if any of e-bikers watch this, Karolis, maybe you are, so let us know whether it was possible. Or maybe Mario, who came here from Estonia, maybe with e-bikes, or maybe not even necessarily with e-bikes, it was possible. Who knows? So let me know in the comments if it was success on that specific climb, because for me it felt like in the middle there was a trench which kind of very slippery sides, where there's not too much room to go there. So yeah, that was my impression. And then it comes to off camber and slippery, I'm not too best friends with that, so in such situations I rather go off the bike than just try my luck and skid into the tree. In the segments leaderboards I was more or less always second after Justinas Bėkša, but Justinas Pavlovas and Šarūnas Pacevičius don't share their activities publicly, so they are not appearing in the leaderboards, so it's their own problem about that. Last thing which I want to point out about Mario from Estonia is that he is planning to create a winter event, Winter Cross, in January 5th. He is going to create an event on Facebook, so maybe I will just post the link somewhere once it's ready and maybe you are interested. As far as I understood, it's crazy race with a lot of snow, and who knows, when more information is provided, maybe it will be clearer. If you want to get a sense what it's like, just have a look on this video where Mario rides with shorts and with cyclocross bike. Crazy. In this era I cut the corner, so sorry about that. It wasn't purposefully done, but basically the downhill was slippery, and even though it seems like there are very clearly visible arrows, if you don't pay attention to them and just have a look where to land, then it causes these type of situations. But basically I was not exactly sure where I made the proper turn here. I haven't loaded GPX. I saw a few tire lines, so someone either on the race day or before the race day were definitely going there, but once I came to this point I was like, something is wrong here, but I noticed an arrow. It was a small loop which I cut, and I noticed that through a flyby. But basically, considering how well the conditions were on my cut, it's questionable whether I gain anything, because from a flyby It just doesn't seem that I gain anything. So it was minor. If you want to, you can just sue me, disqualify or whatever, but that was just a purposefully made move. And I'm not saying that because it was without the lines covering that corner I can go straight like some guys does, right? So I kind of touched base the idea about climbing and never finished it. So the difference on this race day, after the whole season riding in all different places, the main difference comparing with past years was that I had no doubts whether I'm going to climb it or not. Like in the past, you are doubtful, you don't know whether it will be a success or not, but this time it was you just do the work and you will see how it goes. So basically there was zero scariness and it was all confidence. So that was a good feeling. And even though I didn't manage to go on all those climbs, I had to go off the bike and hike it as well, but it was just different. And that feeling kind of gave you a confidence that you are doing something right, or in the right way, or in the right direction, or with the right people. That said, thanks a lot for Andrei Zolgovas, with whom I trained for second season. It's a privilege to be among the fleet of athletes who Andreas trains, and yeah, it's a great experience. And in general, having a coach is like completely different story compared to what you do alone. So apart from the training plan, you just have a person who can guide you and help you, and just it's incomparable. I would strongly suggest you to consider the coach of some sort, because it just elevates your abilities, and at the same time return on investment probably is worth it if you are into getting into better shape and in general progressing at the speed which you alone probably would not be able to. So in this area we're approaching very steep downhill. It was like almost a drop, and at the end there was mud, and that mud was extremely slippery, and you had only single line to go. If you go out of it, you are done, you are sliding from that steep down. So that was something I haven't expected, but thankfully I made it successfully, and you have seen the video from a side which was captured by Pranas Petrauskas, so probably he was the one. So thanks a lot, Petrausku family, for sharing that video. Area where firstly I had to push the bike and then climb on steep climb, but again this is exactly the same situation as I mentioned previously. I knew that the climb is going to be hard, and I knew that in the past it was deadly almost, but this year it was just different. And maybe that difference came from the fact that I came here pretty well rested, so it was just easier physically. But I don't know, it was just a good feeling in general. This year Karma had 10 events, out of which I participated in 5, so it's a bit of a shame that I missed quite a few events, but I've been traveling a bit and that was how it ended up. One other thing which I can point out about the Karma is that usually the starting packages include some beverage, a non-alcoholic one, as well as few bars here and there, and some tiny details like gels, etc. So for the cost of registration, you have like 25 or 30 euros per registration, but you receive a lot more, even though it's just food or whatever. But basically what you get from the price paid is completely different story what you get in other most often races in Lithuania. So that's something to keep in mind. And the reason why also mentioning this is that this time we had this one. It's very warm and you can add it on your neck or even make some bandana out of it. So That was very nice addition to the starting package, and it's warm and it's just nice. And even though it mentioned Karma, I don't mind to advertise them as much as possible because they are doing something exceptional. And here we can see Šarūnas with his son Thomas already doing the cooldown. But one other thing which I can point out about the Karma is that this year they introduced Kicker, which caused a lot of emotions for everyone. Some had broken bones, other excitement while flying in the air, etc. But it was just a proof that Karma is doing something new, and they are finding new ways to entertain their both participants and viewers as well. And talk about the entertainment. After the awards ceremony, usually there is a lottery where they randomly choose starting numbers, and you can win some minor prizes like multi-tool, tire, chain, so like essentials of biking basically. And this time I was lucky as well to win the grips and just some Shimano stuff. And these are provided by Ultrabike, so all those gifts are from their partner Ultrabike. I said a lot of things already, but this time I was 9th in overall category and 4 out of 6 in elite group, age group. So that was the end of the season. Very much hopefully Karma is going to do another season as well, and on our behalf hopefully we will be fit again next year to participate in those races. Last but not least, Neringa asked some questions from participants, and they provided quite funny and attractive answers, so you can watch that video on my channel.
Dalyviams palinkėčiau nebijoti važiuoti sunkesnėmis trasomis, kad pasiruošti tinkamai trasai, kad Karmos trasos atrodytų lengvos.
Palinkėjimas nebijoti ir sudalyvauti Karmai kitais metais, kas dar vis abejoja.
But it's important to mention that Neringa did everything on her own, and basically I just upload the video. That's good, that's good.
Sekėsi normaliai.
Ar nenukritai?
Nekritau.
Pavargai?
Truputėlį pavargau.
Oh, and I allowed her to use my motion graphics package. So that's it. Tom10 Crafted says you until next season. There will still be videos coming on this channel, so if you have some interest about the bike's maintenance and few bits here and there, I would suggest you to keep your eyes open during the winter season. And also I know that some guys watches full onboards when they're on the trainer, so maybe that's an option to consider as well. Thanks a lot for Žilvinas Naujalis, Jurijus Guškevičius, and everyone else who've been involved in preparation, organizing, and all that hard work during the whole season. On my behalf, I wish you to create yet another amazing XCO course next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, even though it's tedious and all that stuff, you are doing a great job. And of course, never let your hands down and keep improving. That's it. Thanks for everyone who watched those videos throughout the whole season, and hopefully we will meet in 2024 season as well. Until next.